Hello everyone, this is MDB Modified Darvas Box, and it is Saturday, May 4th at what time is it? 10:23 a.m. in the morning. And coming at you with a weekend review. This is going to be, I think, a good one because there's so much going on. I mean, what a torture fest this week was. Up, down, triggered, not triggered, doesn't hold, holds. What a pain in the butt. But in the end, the Bulls won out. But man, is it perfect? No, it is not, in my opinion. Um, Still a lot of contrary stuff, but hey, man, the facts remain: the Bulls did win. Uh, let's see. Before we get into the rest of the video, just for anybody who's never watched me before, I'm an independent trader investor, and I created my own unique trading system based on the book by Nicholas Darvas, How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market. But also, I added elements of the trading system as well. You know, it's up to you to build your own system. But when you look at mine, hopefully you get some good ideas. Feel free to copy. I do keep back a few proprietary things that are secret, top secret, but and that I'll never share. But hey, that's 25 years doing this. I placed my first trade in 1995. You think I might have learned a thing or two about it. But anyways, I have my chart set up in certain ways. I use colors. I have 6 different chart lists here, and I'm constantly moving stocks around as they meet different conditions. The chart program I'm using is TC2000. I love the program. I've been using it for, I think, 20 years now. It's a very powerful program, in my opinion. And as you can see, I like to draw boxes or framing tools on the charts, and I have different colors which all mean certain things. When a bar turns a certain color, it means certain conditions were met. And many times they're trading signals that help guide what to do in the stock market. But you got to keep in mind that a signal is only a signal. The important part is the reaction to the signal. And how the market reacts to signals is really how I want to trade. And I think how most people should trade, in my opinion. So, anyways, we'll get into it. Colors here, like this gray, that's an inside bar. All right, easy peasy. But as you can see, the first list is indexes, and the first one is the AMZ, which represents MLPs. These are income vehicles. I have a separate income portfolio to help pay my bills, and passive income is something that's very important, I think, to becoming a successful trader, because you need passive income when the market sucks. Uh, this one here going sideways in a Darvas box, and nothing much else is happening. It's above the one moving average I use. I don't really believe in moving averages. I don't really use them. I see people on Twitter post about them all the time. Oh, it's cracking this moving average. It's bouncing off that moving average. But in my opinion, those touches are 50-50 propositions. And in my opinion, I don't really bet on 50-50 gambles. I bet when odds are higher probability. Now, when I do trade, yeah, I've done some, every now and then, some goofy stuff, but it is what it is. If you can stick to your system the majority of the time, you should do okay. We're only human after all. The best computers are the best traders are computers, bar none, because computers have no emotion and no feelings, and they just react. The problem is we're human, so we can't help it. All right, let's get into it here. Arc. I keep Arc because it's a perfect example of colors, and also I get to laugh at Kathy Wood. But really, it's to demonstrate to you guys the colors. For example, bullish yellow bar signal right there, bullish blue bar signal. Um, Blue bars means pay attention, just like these pink bars mean pay attention, but the bias is sort of different. One interesting thing, blue bars tend to have a pullback week like here, but not always, because nothing is guaranteed in the market. That's why you have to evaluate signal and then reaction to signal. At least that's how I view it. Uh, Other ones, orange signals, which are hammers and shooters. A shooter is simply an inverse hammer, like right here. And great example of signals and then reaction to signals. This white bar right here, bright white, that's a bearish sell bar. That's a signal. How did it react? It had a bullish yellow bar signal. Well, okay, that bearish signal is done. But then look at the reaction to the yellow. You think, oh, that's a new trend, yay. Oh, the reaction was down again. See, reactions to the signals are more important than the signals. And net result, price went sideways for the next 4 months. Good Lord. So that's sort of a primer on my charts. Now here we have, for the ARC funds, we had a Darvas box breakdown right here, big volume, but look at what it did. It decided, you know what, this is really scary, but do we really want to sell it down? And then it ended up this week, nah, we're going back up into the box. Psych, we just, that was a fake out. Oops, we were wrong. That's the market saying, hey, not so fast. And which is why downside breaks, I don't give as much weight as upside breaks. When I see this, it just means I'm going to avoid it unless I see something that's very shortable or anything. The real signal right here was a few weeks ago at the end of March. Inside bar, these popped up everywhere on the charts after long runs, and they all triggered to the downside. Yeah, we're going down, and now the market's saying, wait a minute, not so fast. All right. Now I try to whip through charts fast. I've been really slow because there's been last few weeks because there's just been so much information. But I'll try to keep it fast. Oh, and by the way, if you saw, another topic, if you saw, I tried to do some tweets with some books, Master and Commander. If you ever are looking for good fiction to read, I recommend these authors. Patrick O'Brien, he did the Master Commander. C.S. Forrester with the Hornblower series, and Bernard Cornwell with the Sharp series. These are all great fiction books if you like that sort of Napoleonic period of history. I think these books are really fantastic. I read them growing up, when I was a teenager, and I thought they were great, and I'll still read them now as an adult. So I know reading, a lost concept, right? So anyways, we have here BZJ oil. Now, check this out. I drew a potential box last week here because I thought, oh, oil, I could probably draw a box. Well, based on how I draw them, we know that the top of the box here is pretty much set right here. But the bottom is still in flux because my core view is weekly charts. This one's still going down. So can I keep a box here? Nope. It's still forming, so I removed the box. There's no box structure here. There is the inside bar here. It resolved to the downside. That's bearish. All right. If you were bearish on oil, well, there's your trigger. Signal right here, and the line here is the trigger, and currently you'd be making some money. And I do consider it technically in an uptrend because it hasn't broken the box or formed a new one yet. But call this like a bullish, a counter trend within a bull phase. But the bullish part of it is really losing steam. NASDAQ. All right, so I drew a box here, and this one is stuck. There's a low, and look at that bounce back up. Inside bar, let's go back history. There's the initial trigger bar right here, resolved to the downside. Had a second one right there. So it was telling us during this time period, hey, you really better watch out here. And then it resulted in this big down bar, but all of a sudden, we had this big rebound leading to an inside bar indecision. And now this week, what a freaking mess. Up, down, and that's what happens when we have indecision. But finally, the market made a decision. There's the Fed meeting. It's kind of strange, but hey, it resolved to the upside, and currently it looks bullish. Also, this new bar right here, that's a hammer pattern. You see, my computer coded it right there. So we went from having a bullish trigger right here, and trust me, this was hard. And now there's a new trigger right there. So if you didn't buy anything this week, the market is telling you, hey, we may be poised for more next week. But signal, then reaction. If we get a poor reaction next week, well, don't buy it. But that's how you can trade, trading signals. Sometimes they're clear, sometimes they're just mud. It is what it is. Ethereum, no action. The only thing I see right here, there was the downside trigger, and now it closed above it. So, slightly bullish. If you're bullish on Ethereum, maybe you use that as a trigger, but sort of mixed in the between. There's nothing really to get excited about. And now this one, FFTY, this is a proxy for growth. There's that big box breakout to the downside. Ooh, I gotta put a circle here. I'm always forgetting little stuff like that. But after a big down, huge rebound. Well, not huge, but rebound and now back into the box. Okay, they're not ready to sell it down. That's the take on this. They're not ready to sell it down in a big way. This here's China. It came from China. Look at that. There's your hammer signal right there, and look at the reaction here. Wow. I don't buy Chinese stocks, but if you do, there's your bullish trigger right there. And look at these. It had a pink bar signal, resolved into a hammer, and now boom. If you're watching, paying attention, and willing to trade it, you probably would have made money on those. Bitcoin going sideways, nothing special. Look here on Bitcoin. Broke out here. I bought it right in here. I sold it in here. Made a tragic mistake of not buying it again right in here. And it's gone up, but no color signals. So now it's just building a box. Now I had this as a box here last week, but see, it's still forming the bottom edge. So I'm gonna make an assumption and think, well, maybe that's the new box. The likelihood of this bottom sticking is higher than this one, but we never know. If this keeps going down, well, then we'll have to keep adjusting the boxes. If it holds for the next few weeks, then this is a valid box range. That's how I draw them. They're just very dynamic, and I try to wait until they're set. Gold signal here went down, triggered, but didn't go down, didn't close down. Kept going down a little bit, but once this signal and trigger is done, it's done, baby. I still leave this line here just to evaluate. It's down a smidge, but look, big green volume. Any big red volume? Any? Nope, none. So, no reason to get out of that one. High yield, look at that, moving back up. Now this is interesting. The NASDAQ is, we're so bullish here. And then we go to IGV, the software. There's a box breakdown. It didn't even make it back into the box. What the hell, man? I thought tech was the place to be. Interesting, huh? Look at that. Red. Maybe tech, maybe software is not the place to be. Software looks a little weak. Housing, sideways. Which one is this? Microcaps. Same deal. Sell down. I don't know, man. Should we keep going down? I don't know. Nah, take it back up. Back on the box. These sequences right here are the most frustrating and confusing ones. Because we made an assumption here that, yeah, we're we're bearish, we're going down, and then it just won't do it. So now what are we supposed to think? So when you see that action is the most confusing in the whole Darvas system I use. IWM, this is pretty clear. We're coming down. New box formed. I just drew this one. Inside bar, bullish resolution. Clear as day. Volume light. So how much power is that? How much do they believe? They're just traders. Healthcare, that prick Obama just screwed everything up, but and we were forced to live with it. But downside here, and look, not much of a rebound here. If you're short from up here, why would you do anything? That's an interesting green bar, but price didn't move much. If I was short this, maybe, there's no official signal, but you'd eventually be drawing lines across like here, or you'd basically just take it back to the top wherever you're short from, and then see what happens. Note here, Bollinger Bands. I don't know if you guys use Bollinger Bands, but if the bands are still squeezing up, this gives me some information that, yeah, they're not prepared to take it way down right now, and maybe it just needs more time. Maybe we move this out. Where will the bands come together? Probably somewhere here. So put that, where is that? That's end of the month. Maybe beginning of June. So maybe it goes sideways and then down. That's one way to evaluate how much time you need. Transports, bullish hammer signal. Whoopsie. We had a hammer signal there that's bullish, but it failed on the bottom edge. Now we'll just move that signal right there. There you go. If you want to buy that, there's your trigger. Signal and then reaction to signal. Another interesting thing, again, we said the NASDAQ. Oh, what a wonderful bullish thing. Here's the NASDAQ equal weighted. It didn't even get back to the box. I'm sure the advanced decline line might show a very light reaction, but this tells me that the action is more and more concentrated in the big and the huge ones, in the Mag 7. Average NASDAQ stock didn't rebound all that much. And look at that. It triggered, but it didn't stick. How strong again is this NASDAQ rally? I think it's looking weaker by the chart. It's just a bunch of liquidity looking for a home, and it found it. Gold, yeah, nothing major here. See, signal here. It triggered for a millisecond here, went back up, and then it's been coming in. Any reason to sell? Any red? No reason to sell. I'm still long from right there. And that's how we hold long term. My goal is to hold something long term, but I'm open to short term trading too, especially when things get super uncertain. Well, then you're going to have nothing but short term trades. And honestly, I think trading's a pain in the ass. I think it's much easier to sit and evaluate than constantly making decisions in the moment. It's hard. And because I hate losing. I don't want to lose. Let's see. QQQs, same as the NASDAQ. Look at what a mess bar this was. Down, up, down, up. Let's look at the daily. Look at that. There's that trigger line. Where did we go? That was Friday. So I knew on Monday it was going to gap up because the futures were all up, and it's like, it's all going to trigger, but is it going to stick? And it triggered here, didn't stick, and then went down, and now the huge gap to end the week. shake and bake. Raise your hand if you got shaked and baked this past week, at least on one trade that you put on. This is so difficult. Look at this. And end like this? What a bunch of jerks. And that's why I was tweeting, does anybody feel like this is a really tough week? Well, hello, McFly. Yeah. What are we supposed to do? But in the end, it closed bullish, but we'll see what happens. Let's get this show going. This is supposed to be a new bull market, right? RSP didn't it triggered but didn't stick. Great. Short-term rates had a hammer, so we'll see how this goes. It's my feeling institutional traders are way too focused on the Fed and not focused enough on what's happening in the economy and on the ground. That's just my personal opinion. Look at that. NASDAQ's supposed to be amazing new rally, right? Semiconductors. The bedrock triggered and did not stick. So we get software that's bad. Semiconductors didn't stick. I mean, equal weighted index didn't stick. What kind of rally is this? Well, it's a rally until it's not a rally. S&P 500 did stick, but barely. Does have volume here, and I pointed this out in a tweet. But here's the problem. The SPY is matching. Where's that SPY volume? Volume's low. So I interpret this as actually, I'd rather go with the SPY because I'm not 100% sure where this index volume came from. I'll take it when it benefits me, but usually I'll double check it against the SPY because usually when something big happens, these match, like right here in the beginning of November. You see that they correlate there. In this case, we got a divergence in volume. I'm willing to believe the SPY here, which tells me that this, while the signal closed green, it's a weak signal, in my opinion. Some sentiment. Yeah, the bounce. I think it was just a technical bounce that we're in. Because look, sentiment bottomed down here 2 weeks ago, and now it's getting back to the highs. The emotional state of the market probably will ease up here. Let's see. More sentiment. It's all sort of in the middles. The tan. Scrape the low here. Had a trigger right here. Psych, fake you out. And look, big sellers here. And now it sort of turned and still going sideways. Oh, a word on the sentiment. I got the NAM. They changed the website to this horrible blue. I mean, it's just horrible. But 61, 59, 62. Yeah, the market's having trouble figuring this all out. So don't feel like you're alone in not being able to figure this out. But yeah, the tan basically saying, psych. Somebody got shaked and baked in here, but the question would be, all right, you shaked and baked me out here, but does that mean this is going to start going crazy up? I don't know about that. Still solars after all. Bonds, TLT, yeah, they got a little bit of a bid, but it's down. It's in a downtrend right here. Signal right here. Trigger didn't stick. So how strong is this bounce? We'll see. Uranium, yeah, that's bullish. The VIX is now back to where it started a few weeks ago. Now it's time to reset. Isn't it amazing? If you're bearish, you're thinking, oh yeah, man, and then it takes it all back. It's just so tough. Nothing sticks. What is this? Real estate. All right. So let's get this going. Get these charts. Housing. A little bit stick, but you see, nothing went crazy. They're barely. These trades are barely successful. Downside is a little more successful. XLE. Remember oil. There's your trigger downside, and there, and it's just about negated the breakout. See the line right there? It wasn't a strong breakout, but it's probably going to go into sideways. All right, that's list one. That was a lot of talking. Let's start ramping. Okay, list two. This is best of the best. Textbook. What has this done? This has formed a new box. Is that in an uptrend now? No, it's now in a sideways trend. So we move this from list two to list three. It's still bullish, and it's primed maybe to go up. Axon, new Darvas box breakout right there. And there was a trigger right here. And this is a cool one. Now, granted, it's got earnings. See up here? It's got earnings on the 6th, which is on frickin' Monday. A breakout right before earnings. God, they don't make this any easier, do they? This one, Kava restaurant. I've never eaten at one, but that's a Darvas box breakout. Earnings later this month. Darvas box breakout. This is a new idea I got from some other people on Twitter. Thank you very much. Right there. Go long. When are they doing earnings? Uh-oh, be careful. May 9th. That is Thursday. The market's just torture. This one going up looks just fine. And there's a signal right there. If you're not in CPNG, well, now you got a signal for next week. Get your buy tickets ready. Carvana, big box breakout. The shorts getting screwed. I bought this right before earnings. And you know what? I didn't know it was earnings. I bought it on the daily chart. Oh, it's got all the stuff here. I bought it because on the daily chart, let me back this up. I didn't tweet about it because I thought people would just be like, yeah, right. But I bought it right at the close because I saw this huge volume bar. And I'm like, man, they wouldn't be betting like that unless they know. But you know what? I didn't know it was earnings. So I bought near the close, and then I'm like, is it earnings today? And then I'm like, oh crap, it is. Oh no. And then by that time, the number came out, and the number started moving, and it moving up, and I'm like, oh, okay. But I thought earnings was the day after. So bank error in my favor, and because it was such a stupid thing I did, I decided to sell. I sold right at the open. I'm just like, you know what? Dumb luck. Take the money. So there's my buy and there's my sell. Not bad. Bought 87, sold at 120. That'll do it. For solar, box breakout, futzed around, but now it's moving higher. Kind of correlates with that tan, huh? Geo, sideways. 2 inside bars in a row. This one's trying to make a decision. And look at their earnings on the 7th, next week. But it's sideways bar, so I move it. It's no longer in an uptrend. Maybe it'll resume. This one here, a new ticker I got off Twitter. Thank you much. Well, inside bar, you know what to do. Draw the lines. Box breakout. I like this one. I tried it, and for risk management, I sold it. I didn't buy it again. I should have. it's very thin. It's hard to buy. So we'll just watch it. Qualcomm. Look at that. Lovely. So there are some stocks which have broken out. RTX. This is a very narrow box range. Defense. But since it's in a box, we got to move it out. SE. Moving higher. I own this one. Bought here and here. This one's a new one I found from the Twitter. Box breakout, moving up nicely. I don't even know what this company does, but that looks pretty nice. And the overall pattern, though, it's low, but it still looks pretty good. This one, earnings this week. I own it from down here. We'll see what happens. All right, we'll get into the bullish. All right, now we need to really speed things up. Apple, big reaction on earnings. Yellow bar signal. However, if you read the earnings and you actually look at it, the earnings look like a pile of crap. They just did some financial buybacks, financial engineering. Will this signal stick? I doubt it. Is it time to short Apple? Wait for a signal. But they need to step on their game. Anything here? Oh, Amazon. Bullish signal right here. There's a hammer. It triggered this past week. I think Amazon looks great. Look at that. Big green volume. This is one to be buying, in my opinion. There's that sideways, sideways. Coin. Everybody thought Coinbase was going to ramp to huge amounts. It triggered the downside. I traded it very briefly. Made a few bucks. But there's a real signal. Right there, there's a trigger. We'll set an alert for it. And we'll see if it goes. This one, inside, triggered, now formed the hammer. So it's interesting to see the ones which formed bullish versus the ones that didn't, you know. This is a box breakout, but it's weak, low volumes. That's why it's on list 3. Interesting for solar, big green volume, volume, but it needs to trigger a signal. Yellow bar signal, resolve higher, not bad. So you see there were trades, but it was just a tough week. Microsoft. Now, W. You see all these ones that resolve bullish? That's why they're on list 3. PLTR resolved. But again, PLTR earnings on the 6th. That's on Monday. Great. Gonna take the risk? Not me. Ooh, big move. TMDX. Congrats to the longs. It did have a box breakout here, but then it failed. Then came back. But again, in order to take in the signal, you'd have had to be buying right before earnings, because that's an earnings gap up. What I do when this happens, okay, you missed it. Now we'll wait for maybe a signal on the daily chart or a signal on the weekly chart. That's if you still got to have it. But it looks great. Congrats to the long holders. Can't be in them all. Signal, barely a trigger, but that looks positive, but no boxes, no nothing. This is interesting. See, this chart looks awful. We had a box breakdown here, but volume was low. What did it do? It gave a bullish signal. That's why it's on list 3 at the moment. Next week, if it doesn't trigger, we'll take it off. All right, bearish ones. AMD. Raise your hand. How many people wish you had shorted AMD based on this signal right here? I'm raising my hand right now. Did I do anything? No. And look at that. Down all the way down here. And it triggered on both sides of this inside bar. What a bitch. And it closed in the middle. So, should you cover if you were short? Not exactly. Should you be betting against it? Not exactly. Should you be buying it? Not exactly. In this case, leave it alone. See what happens. You need more info. One thing, volume's been getting lower and lower. No bulls, but no bears either. So recognizing indecision is just as important. This one, earnings. Okay, this one. This had earnings. It had a box breakdown, nothing major. But now a pink bar signal. Pink bar means we pay attention, and it has a bearish bias. I am short this because I'm bearish on this on valuation. And let's see, we come here, got the handy little extension tool, Mr. Bill. Look at this. This was fantastic when it's doing 725%, 100%. 50 is not bad, but look at the latest number. Up 20%. It's been decelerating this whole time. Sales have been going up, but not all that great. We're in 2024 annual, up 7%. I liked it better when it was up 100%. Up 7% here. How about valuation? 1270. Let's do that. Let's do price to sales. 1270 times 10 would be 12 billion. So let's take a look here. Market cap is 6.8. That's maybe times 5. Call it a little less than maybe 6 times. 1270 times 6. 1270 times 5. So it's a little more than 5 times sales. Okay, price to sales ratio, 10 times sales is considered egregious, just absurd at 10 times. This is about 5 times. I think this should trade around maybe 2 to 3 times sales, which would put this 56, chop it in half. I think this should trade around 28 bucks. Who's willing to bet against this and with a higher probability than maybe a long trade? Me. So I'm short Bill, and we'll see what happens. Looks pretty awful right now, huh? Here, this is on list 4 simply because of it's below that trigger from a number of weeks ago. Same deal here on sell H. There's that trigger line, and that's just keeping track of how it's progressed. Dash, look at that. Blah, barf. I bought Dash in here. I sold it here. Clearly, I'm a super trader, right? I sold it here because they announced they were getting into buy now, pay later. Who the hell needs credit to buy a delivery order? It's just absurd. And they want to offer credit to probably the biggest deadbeats on the planet. It's just a horrible, horrible idea. So I sold here, but also because I had seen the market weakening and all that, I figured, yeah, punt it. And look at that. In hindsight, turned out to be a great decision. Sideways. I'm still long ML. There's the signal. It's sort of hanging in there, but again, earnings this week. We'll see what happens. Hey, the Nasdaq has a positive trade, right? Shouldn't Micron chips be ripping? No, didn't. The trigger didn't stick right there. Weak. Net. Oh baby. This here just looks horrible. We'll save net for the end of the video. Because remember, I promised a trade idea. And it is net, but I'll break it down at the end of the video. Steel, look at that, down. Economic activity decreasing, maybe. Down, formed a box. Maybe formed a box here on Oracle. There's another inside. But you see, there's nothing, it's very hard. Where are the bullish trades? Where it should be obvious. Oh, talk about an ass kicking. This root got its ass kicked this week. I really don't know what's going on with it, but this is just pain. Here, here, here. Ouch. Square, pink bar. Because pinks have more of a bearish bias, it goes here on list 4. Oh, natural gas. Look at that. Oh, downside resolution there. Not good. I own this one in my income portfolio. I'm not selling. Like, I wouldn't sell based on this because I'm in this for the dividends. But, you know, you always like to see this go higher. And this one, I'm still short on this one, ZS. But look at that. There's a valid signal. Now I got to watch out. All right, let's rip the remaining ones and then get to the idea. List 5, these are bad ones. They should look horrible. That looks pretty bad. Yeah. And again, I'm looking for stuff that stands out. This, I'm still short arm. It triggered for a millisecond on last Monday and then went down. No reason to cover. But I might have to eventually, but we'll see. When does this? And earnings this week. Since I'm short, and I've got big cushion, I'm willing to let it ride. Poor bros, look at it go down. But bearish trigger, bearish trigger. It is what it is, man. Bearish looking. Anything standing out in a big way? There's box breakdown. I had this one. I owned it here. I sold it here. So far, I feel good about this, but I don't know. We'll see. Should have sold it up here. Roblox coming back up, but earnings here on the 9th. Too hard, but look at that. The bottom, this box structure is still intact, even though went below, back above, below it, hanging out, then back into it. I give it a couple of weeks after piercing before I close it, because stuff like that happens all the time. There we go. Not that I think Roku's really going anywhere, but I noticed it got some volume this week. Come on. So, you see, that's how you treat an inside bar right there. There's that little smidge of volume. Shop, this one, I was short there. I covered. It's just too hard. And it's got earnings here on Tuesday. I think I made $1. Everybody's favorite, SMCI, still down below its box. SoFi, everybody loves this one. I don't know why. Darvas box breakdown, big volume. Isn't this interesting? Uber. Box breakdown. Uber was so hot until this bar happened. And ever since the big blue signal bar, it's gone sideways. All right, last list. Oh, these ones, not much. All sideways. Notice here, Berkshire Hathaway starts really moving here. Get the signal bar here, and it stops. What does it do after this? Sideways. See, the market talks. Donald J. Trump, DJT. I love you, Donnie, but you had a box breakout going, and then you just couldn't keep it going. But this is, look at this, green, green, green. There's some wild stuff going on in here. I don't have a clue. This one's interesting, DOCN. That there's sort of a strange coloring bar, but we had a nice volume. Interesting. And I might come here, it reported earnings. What did it do? Up 57%, not bad. Up 11, it's coming along. With a market cap of 3 billion. 3 billion on 767. That's not too bad. Just keep an eye on it. Anything standing out? This GE is just incredible. Look at that. This is the GE spinoff. We should have, if I remember Peter Lynch, he said you're supposed to buy the spinoffs. Hood looks nice, but earnings next week. Notice here the volume's sort of gone quiet. No real signals here except this past week. LMT still trying to break out. Otherwise, MDB, perfect example of a blue bar with a red follow-on week. Absolutely normal. This seems to happen a lot. Why, I don't know. Oh, sideways. There's Netflix. I sold it here, owned it here. And for a few weeks, it made me feel stupid, but no big deal. NVIDIA or NVIDIA. Look at that. I thought the NASDAQ, if this is the king, shouldn't this have been all the way much higher? Well, it closed bullish. I guess this actually shouldn't be in this list. Put it here in bullish. But is that super bullish? Does that make you want to take a mortgage out on your house? Not me. Anything else here? Snow, I covered here. Looks like a good cover. Spot sideways. Oh, Tesla. See? Blue with a sort of a red week, but actually the red is because it's below the moving average. It's actually looks decent. Yeah, more sideways. All right, let's wrap this up and get into the stock idea. So the trade idea that I think is a layup is net, shorting net. Now we've got a box breakdown here, but it was before earnings. All right, what are you supposed to do? Then earnings hit. Now here's why I think it's one. When we look at the numbers, the numbers just aren't that great. So it was up 100% here, up 30% here. Looks great, right? Well, if you look at 1650 right there, let's do our handy math. 1650 times an absurd 10 times sales, 16 billion. This sucker trades here at $30 billion market valuation. That's so absurd. 16, that means it's trading around 18 times sales. Now we've got a pink bar signal. Yeah, I placed a short trade at the end of the day. To me, this is just so absurd. And it's growing, but just not fast enough to justify, in my opinion. Next, we know that its competitor, Fastly, Fastly sucks. Look at that. So its main competitor here just sell down, blew their earnings. Let's look at their numbers. Fastly, look at that. NA, because all they do is lose money. But they made $133 million. On track to make 550. We compare here. 550, that's 3 times. Net is supposed to make 3 times more. Well, what's Fastly's market cap? 1.2. Should Net trade really for maybe 3 billion, 4 billion market cap? Maybe 5 billion at most when you compare with Fastly? I'm beginning to think so. And yet, Net has a $30 billion market cap. What do they do that's so special that warrants that high? So, in my opinion, I think the chances of making money on the downside here faster are much greater than any long trade I'm seeing out there. So consider it. You got some technical signals, and then you got some fundamental just craziness. So consider it, and if it works, let me know. Okay, that's our weekend review. I hope you guys have a great trading week. Talk to you soon. Bye.